Because you probably get them at a discount.
Yeah,
right?
it's employee website, yeah.
Okay. That's good. All right, before we get started, you got, I think 1 minute or so. So if you need to go to the restroom, get some water, please do so. Mr. Powers, what's happening? How you doing?
That was one.
No, not over there, it's all in the back, yeah.
So how's Ignite been so far? Any big ahas, nuggets that you like to share before we get started? I know Chris Baker has been speaking the curriculum, so. No one? All right, well, hopefully, today's lecture will be something very educational. So good afternoon. My name is Simon Cazares. I am the team leader and also the broker of the Torrance office. I'm also the broker for the Long Beach Photo office. I've been in the industry almost 30 years, 28 years already, 28 years. And it feels like it's just been like this, super quick. I've been with Keller Williams. This will be my 10th year, going on 11 years with KW. And it's been the most awesome experience for me to be part of this office. This office, just like many of KW, it's all about the synergy and the energy, and more so is the education that we bring to the table. I believe that Keller Williams is like a Yale, Harvard platform, because we don't see you as a real estate agent, we see you as an entrepreneur. We see you as a CEO and running a real estate. I'm going to share some insights and, in the content of the today's lecture. We're going to be talking about the database, right? And the importance of your database. This is where the money is in the database, okay? The money is in the database is because, believe it or not, how many have smartphones? Okay, all of us, right? How many of us have laptops and tablets, right? All of us. We also have websites, right? We also have our CRM, right? Our data client relations management tool, which is Command. Anything and everything that's moving forward, right? We need to input into your database. And what your database is your Command platform. Your database can be your contacts on your phone. I don't care what that looks like. But what I do care is that the results of what you do in your database will result in the income that you can make. Now, this is one of many, many, many ways of making money in real estate. I'm just sharing you a percentage of what you can do when it comes to your database. All right. So buckle up, get ready, be a sponge, and I promise in the next 2 hours, it's going to be impactful for you. All right. And I'll share with you my personal struggles and challenges, right? But I still believe that real estate is one of the best and the most rewarding components in any type of career. And I'll share with you my past and also, the vision of what I believe real estate looks like, right? Because when I started my real estate career, we didn't have the technology. We didn't have smartphones. We didn't have websites. We didn't have DocuSign. We had the MLS was an encyclopedia book that would come every Friday to all of the offices. The MLS would come in and would give us the encyclopedia. And that's how we knew what was active, what was pending, what was under contract. We didn't have the power of the internet. We didn't have the power of the MLS. We didn't have the power of zip files. And, we didn't have any of the technology that we have now. And guess what? Our agreements were a lot less. purchase agreement was probably 4 pages long when I started my career. The listing agreement was probably a 3-page long document. All of the wazoo disclosures that we need to provide our agents is due to lawsuits and changes in law. But back then, it was very loose. A lot of the stuff we used to write, everything is embedded in our contracts. But the negotiations, okay, and the objection handlers have stayed the same. And I'll explain it to you because your database is going to open up opportunities. And I've always said that will continue saying this, right? And you'll hear me preach it all the time. 3 things that you must understand in your real estate career. 1, please write it down, is contracts. Know your contracts. Know your listing. Know your purchase agreements. Know your advisories. Know your disclosures. Know what document that you need to have in order for you to complete the task. Your goal is to close the deal every single transaction, okay, from beginning to end. Your goal is to get your buyer to the home stretch, to the finish line, just as much as your seller. But it takes you the ability to know how to navigate, maneuver, and sometimes you're going to hit those walls, right? And you're going to hit those walls quite often. But the essence is you're a transaction engineer. You got to find a solution to every matter. Real estate is simple, but not easy. I'll repeat, real estate is simple, but not easy. You got to implement models and systems, but the ultimate bandwidth of your opportunities is in your actions. Actions speak louder than anything else. Take action. Okay, that's going to take you places that you will even surprise yourself, right? Be humble, be authentic, and be real to yourself, all right? Because once you start making traction and start building momentum in your business, okay, people start changing. Humble yourself, because it's easy to get yourself entwined in the reality. And then not the reality, the real estate, right? But you got to stay consistent because consistency will take you far, far, far places. Okay? And don't get complacent. Because real estate can easily get you into a complacent matter because you already think that you know how to go on a listing appointment. You already think that you know how to have a buyer consultation appointment, right? Guess what? Your competitors are sharpening their knives every single time. And nowadays, it's not just you and the seller or you and the buyer. They're interviewing other top performers. So if you're not showcasing your ability and knowing how to maneuver the conversation to get them to work with you, guess what? You're going to lose the opportunity. And guess what? You're going to get frustrated. And guess what? You may even leave the industry. Okay? And I'm only being real. Because I've seen it. Only a very few percentage of people will survive real estate. Okay? You're constantly educating yourself. You're constantly involved in training. You're constantly involved in masterminds. Okay? You're constantly involved in coming to team meetings and learning the latest trends. Because the real estate is constantly revolving and changing. Look at the big changes that we encountered in July and August. A lot of agents are leaving the industry because of this. Now, most of you are fairly new, okay? So you don't know what you don't know. But for the old timers that have been in the industry for a long time, they just cannot see this anymore. They're not going in the same path and direction. And we're seeing people leave the industry as well. All right, so buckle up, guys, because it's going to be a fun, interactive conversation today. All right, and again, if you have any questions on Zoom, please raise your hand, right? And let's go for it. All right, obviously, as part of the telemarketing, remember, as real estate professionals, right, we have what's called the do not call list, right? So if someone on the other line says, hey, how did you get my number? I am part of the do not call list, right? Well, respectfully and professionally, you got to say, I sincerely apologize. I will take you off our list. And then you immediately let the office know so we can put that phone number on the list of numbers to not call. Because what happens is if we don't, and more agents are calling and more agents from a particular office, that may cause a complaint and a potential claim. So you've got to be careful. And this is why Keller Williams warns us that you must be in compliance with the TCPA and any other federal, state, or local laws, right? On calling, on texting, and all the fun stuff, right? So do not call this and do not use an auto dialer or artificial voice or pre-recorded message without proper consent. Okay, contact your attorney to assure you're in compliance. General, while Keller Williams KWRI has carefully prepared all materials, we do not guarantee that the accuracy or make any express or implied warranties about the information. KWRI may change the materials at any time without notice. These materials may contain examples and exercises meant to illustrate aspects of the KWRI's financial growth and investment models, including calculations of profit share contributions and distributions, calculations of agent compensation, evaluation of market-centered financial results, agent productivity strategies, and estimates of return on investments. Okay. All right, so negotiating commission, part of all of the new stuff now, right? The MLS has removed compensation now. So everything moving forward, it's about negotiations because the MLS does not have the commission anymore. So now when submitting a request, we have to submit the proper form in order to be compensated. And three things can happen with this, right? And negotiation of commission. Commissions are not set by law or practice and are fully negotiable. There is no commission standard and pricing will vary by agent and market condition. KWRI does not determine commission and plays no role in establishing the commission, and that's always been across the board. As long as I've been in this industry, commission has always been negotiable. What has changed, ladies and gentlemen, is how we structure our commission. Back in the day, prior to the NAR settlement, we used to negotiate that with the seller and say to the seller, Mr. Seller, part of the process now is compensation will be a total of 5%, but as agents, we share that commission with any cooperating brokerage who brings us a ready, willing, and able buyer. We share that commission. Well, that's what opened up the can of worms, and this is why we got into the legal aspect of the settlement, and now commissions are not shared. They're individually negotiated, okay? And it's always been this, since I can remember, it's always been embedded in all of our forms that it's been negotiable. But the essence to see Keller Williams put this now as part of their requirement just tells me how much the industry is changing. And it's been changing, and it will continue. And guess what? 10 years from now, when you reflect on your business, guess what? The purchase agreement may be 20 pages long. Okay. I'll probably be out of the industry by that time. Who knows? But I love what I do. All right. Any questions regarding this statement here? Fair housing, obviously, you got into real estate that you treat everyone with equal, regardless of what type of scenario and situation, everyone is treated equally. Okay, copyright, obviously, none of the material is for the privilege of being copyright. So whatever content that you get, you cannot run with it and duplicate it and make it yours, right? It's part of Keller Williams. So today we're going to be talking about growing your database, right? We started off with spark your career, embrace your job, connect with your market, define your value, generate your leads, and now we're going into the database, okay? And I think this is one of the most biggest component in my curriculum when it comes to Ignite is your database, all right? I also would encourage you to purchase called the Millionaire Real Estate agent playbook, okay? There's a part one and a part two to this. This is part two. I just got it delivered today, all right? Now, you have the red book, the Millionaire Real Estate book that I would encourage you to purchase, but then it goes to part one and this is part two. But part two has a lot of different scenarios and playbooks, okay, that talk about different scenarios. This book here is about $25, okay? It's a small token in your investment, but it has a lot of playbooks. Now with the NFL starting, yay, I'm super excited because yesterday my Chicago Bears won. So it's a great start to the league. With that being said, I look at it from this perspective, all right? As a mentor, as a coach, as a team leader, as a broker, you know, part of the component of what we do is we're coaches. We're coaching our agents. We're coaching our agents to production. We're helping fill those gaps, those challenges, those obstacles, those walls that sometimes we hit, right? Your job is to go out and identify motivated buyers and sellers, right? Or investors, or heck, even developers. That's your job, is to go identify. It's a numbers game at the end of the day, right? And what I mean by it's a numbers game is that you don't know when your next buyer, seller, or investor will show up. But if we're not hitting our database, if we're not contacting as many people, you're not going to see the results. And you need to start like yesterday. Not today, not tomorrow. As I said earlier, your phone probably has over 6 figures of income waiting for you to connect. The question is, are you diligent enough to reach out to your database? And that's what today's conversation is going to be, is to really scrub and really dive deep into the importance of what we do. Okay, because if someone told you that by getting your real estate license, you were going to make all this money, they lied to you. And if you see all of these so-called reality shows with glam and, you know, high-end properties and high-end vehicles and all of the stuff that you see on social media and also on reality shows, guess what? It can happen, but it's not going to happen immediately, right? You may be one of the very lucky people that will ultimately get to hit that caliber, and it can happen. I've seen agents that start in the industry pick up a $5 million, $7 million listing, but it's far and few, right? Now, I also want you to be truthful to yourself, right? And what I mean by this, ladies and gentlemen, is that I want you to understand and be excited because this industry is very, very exciting. And the reason I say that it's very exciting is because if you're working with a $500,000 client or working with a $10, $15 million client, guess what? The process is the same. The process is the same. The paperwork is the same. The escrow is the same. Working with another agent, may be a little different, but the process is the same. So that's one check off. Because if you know the process, it doesn't matter where I put you. If it's $5 million or $500,000, the process is the same, ladies and gentlemen. And I want you to really resonate that because that's important for you to understand, not to be afraid. And to venture out and expose yourself out there because that's what it takes. No one knows you're in real estate. I wouldn't know if I was to see you out in the field. I want you to start understanding of why you got your real estate license in the first place, right? Because the opportunities are there. And it's very simple to make a 6-figure income in this industry. And not put all the time, effort, and energy that you really think. Meaning, if this is not a 9-to-5 job, this is not a 40-hour per week, okay? But also, this is not a Monday to Friday job either. You are going to work weekends. You are going to work some holidays, okay? When you get to that level where your business is going
consistently, then that changes this conversation. But until you get there, you're going to work your tail off. Okay, and I promise you, you work your tail off and you work it consistently and you devote to this industry and you respect this industry, it'll respect you back. Never burn bridges. Okay, never burn bridges. In our industry, it's about customer service all day long. We work for our clients just as I work for you as my clients. You are my clients. So my job is to take care of you. And if I don't have the answer or don't have the resources, I'm going to find those resources for you, just like my entire staff. This is the reason we created our KW Hub. If you have not been into our KW Hub, I would encourage you to get into your KW Hub, because the Hub is going to give you a lot of the answers that can be easily answered by research. That leads to my next question. You got to be very resourceful. Okay, in this industry, you're considered an independent contractor. Okay, what does that mean? That means you're your own business. Okay, this is not a job. But if you want me to treat you like an employee, I can treat you like an employee, but I'm going to be tough on you. You're going to have to be here at 8 o'clock. You got to do cold calling. You got to do lead gen. You got to do follow-up. You got to send out emails, right? But the essence, that's not the case. Respectfully, this is an awesome career to be in. So take full advantage of all of the stuff that Keller Williams has, right? And I promise you, it will come back tenfold. Okay. Any questions so far? Raise your hand if I'm boring you too. Simon, you're boring. Today's agenda. We're going to talk about building your database. Okay, we're going to talk about communicating with your database. We're also going to do a little bit of recap. We're going to talk about smart data bank, feeding your database, service your database, and the success of completing today's curriculum. Okay, Gary Keller says the following: your database is your business, building up the number of names in it, and a relationship with those names is really at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about. Take a photo of this, resonate this, put it on your computer, and just think about the database, right? It's like that jackpot. Your database is the core of what we do, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're not feeding your database, you're not going to see the results of your database. Okay? I can assure you. Because if you're trying to wing it, you're going to fail. But if you take it into consideration, and at least, I'm not saying you have to go 100 miles with it, but add it into your database, you will see results from it. Start very small. Okay.
The problem is not the database, the quality of the database. My problem. Even if you connect, if you watch Gary's movie, Gary's video, it says quality. He emphasizes on the quality of the database.
100%. 100%.
It's
I
very
get it.
easy to give cards out. The problem is to take the good cards, the good quality.
I hear you 100%. But it's a numbers game at the end of the day, right? You got to scrub it, right? And scrubbing it sometimes is part of your job too. Inputting it
here. We should be outside. A
the
lot of things to learn here, Simon. Also, we need to come in.
Thank you. You just answered my own question to you. The business is not in the office. Your business is out in the field. That's where you're making the money. You come to the office for three things: meet with your clients, get educated, and get trained. Okay? That's the core of coming into an office. Because business in the office will not bring you and generate business for you, ladies and gentlemen. The business is out in the field, the business is out there connecting with people. Everyone should be a person is who can I connect and make that conversion into a client. It may be now or maybe in the near future. The essence is you've got to be able to convert. Because if I'm feeding you business, right, I'm feeding you leads, and you're not converting those leads, something is wrong. Either we're failing you or you're failing yourself. And it's a give and take, folks. All right, it's a balance. Because even top performers, mega agents that do high volume of business, when they go on the listing appointment, may not get the listing. Work with the buyer, they may not get that buyer. And you got to be okay with that. Don't get discouraged. Don't get frustrated. You keep chipping away. You keep pushing forward, right? That's the end goal. A tree will not fall with one hit, right? You got to consistently hit that tree, and eventually that tree falls, right? That's our business. And if we're not chipping away every single day, you're not going to see the results, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to be honest and truthful with you, okay? Can I be real with you?
Yeah.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
No.
I'm not going to laugh and giggle with you. Because you got to respect this industry and you got to respect the work that involves. It's a hustle. It's a grind, ladies and gentlemen. This is why you get paid really well to do the grind. And if you're committed, congratulations. If you're not committed, congratulations. Okay. Smart data bank. All right, so kind of giving you a perspective of your database, right? If we were to scrub a list of 1,000 people, right? These are 1,000 people, right? Do me a favor, okay? Get off your phone for a minute. Does everyone know how to get how many contacts they have on their phones? Just go to your contacts. And then if you have an iPhone, if you have something else, I don't know how to do it. But if you go to your contacts on your iPhone, and scroll all the way up to the bottom, you'll see how many contacts you have. Give me some numbers.
1,100.
Over 1,000.
1,133?
Yep.
Okay.
Now, Sam, here in my command, I have 133 numbers, which are from the US, but here in my iPhone, 5,167. Those are overseas.
Gotcha.
So I'm new.
Gotcha. That's fine. I'm just trying to be practical with you, okay? Because I'm going to share with you the importance and the power of your phone, right? What else? Who else? How many contacts do you have? Maybe
About 1,000.
1,000. Okay.
500.
500. Okay. One more.
900.
Okay. 900. All right. On my phone, I have about 1,700. Now, out of those 1,700 guys, how many of them do you think are personal? Family, friends? Okay. And we put those aside. Then the next is how many of those are colleagues, people you have relationship with, right? And then we put them aside. And then the other is how many of those are vendors, business people, trade, contract, whatever the case may be, business people, right? The business owners still buy and sell too, right? Yeah, right? So you got to just categorize and put them into different categories, right? And it doesn't matter if a lot of these contacts are overseas, right? We can create a new one, right? A new database into your system. But the essence of today is defining, right? Breaking it apart, distinguishing one from the other, so that way we can have a very clean scrub database. And yes, it's going to be a little bit of effort to scrub your database. But when you scrub it and now can identify different categories of individuals that you can put into, that changes the trajectory of your business. Because you know that these are family members, okay, you check in with them on a regular basis, you'll know if they need to buy, sell, they are gonna reach out. You still want to be in touch with your family members. Guess what? Because your family members may go a different direction. They may say, well, I forgot that you were in real estate. And that happens. Happened to me many years ago where my uncle sold one of his properties and forgot that I was in real estate. But it was my position that I did not constantly check in with my uncle and let him know. So it wasn't his fault, it's my fault. The essence is there's opportunities in your phone, okay? All right, so let's go into. All right, thank you, Ari. 320, good job. Let's go into the funnel, what this looks like, right? And get a just a concise, right? So which part of the lead generation and data on models represents your database, right? Your relationship management and your clients and referral loop, right? So it starts with the funnel, right? The funnel is the leads, right? Everyone should be an opportunity, right? Everyone should be a lead, right? Everyone that you're having some type of relationship or conversation, if they're not in your database, put them in your database, right? It doesn't matter if they're not looking to buy, they're not looking to sell, put them in your database. The reason is because you're using that database as a billboard, as a campaign, as future business. Because you don't know if that buyer, that seller in the future may convert it to business. Or they may have someone that they know that may be interested in buying, selling. But if they're not in your database, it doesn't exist. So make an essence, ladies and gentlemen, to start putting that information into your system. And I can promise you the end results will surprise you. It only takes that one buyer, that one seller, that one investor that believes in you and wants to do business with you. Make sense? Okay. Those lead captures your prospects and your marketing, right? Open houses, passing out your flyers, right? Passing out your business card, right? Maybe you're at the mall and you just strike a conversation with someone. It could happen. Maybe you're wearing your name tag. Maybe you're wearing a t-shirt. Maybe you're wearing a hat. Maybe you're wearing something that identifies you as a real estate agent with Keller Williams. That's an icebreaker, ladies and gentlemen. That's a conversational piece. No difference. How I see name badge is like authority. And when I think of authority, I think like police officers. They carry a what?
Badge.
They carry a badge. Firefighters carry a badge, right? Captains, pilots, they carry some type of something that says that they are pilots.
Wings.
Ah,
They're wings.
yeah, military personnel, right? It's a conversational piece. Yes.
How important is having a name and a name badge? Because I was thinking about maybe just getting like a little badge or like a little like a pin that says KW. I was wondering, does it have to, I mean, is it important to have my name? Because that could be also striking like, oh, you're KW. Yeah, it's kind of a way of sort of talking to people when they want to know curiosity, like, oh, really? Like, what do you do? What's your name? As opposed to having everything other so people wrote that they're like.
When I wear this around. And they do read it, like if I go Starbucks, Costco, wherever I go, they love Keller Williams, and then they start talking to me about real estate, they do, so they do read it.
So my question was, is it important to have the name as opposed to just the KW?
I think it's very relevant to have your name. Because if I'm gonna be talking to you, right, and this is just me being me, right? I distinguish conversation based on different things that I see. Like if I was to strike a conversation with you as an example, I would probably have a conversation regarding your glasses.
Mhm.
That's how I would start the conversation. I look at different things that I can use as a way to converse with someone to kind of get that icebreaker, right? Because a lot of people don't like to just openly just have a conversation with a stranger. But guess what? You got into the real estate to work with strangers on a regular basis. So you gotta make the effort to do so. And if I was to ask you on the turnaround to this, right, as an example, you know, how are you generating business, right? Because no one knows you're in real estate if they don't identify you with a name badge as an example, passing out your business cards or even your flyers, right? If you're, you know, working networking, right? The more people that know of you, the more closer to that opportunity happens. Okay, and this is why your database is the next step. Your step is the initiations. Your step is the conversation. The follow-up is on your database, right? Because once you have their information, their name, their phone number, their email, then it goes into your database. That's the next step into your business. Because you don't know if that person is a potential or a future client. So you got to have that mindset that every time I'm talking to someone, it's about me putting them into my database. Okay. Remember, your database starts with the mathematical approach. Determine the value, determine your conversions, and determine the financial opportunities that your database can bring. Nurturing your leads have the potential to give you leads and generate opportunities. Increasing the quality of your touches, right? Because once you put them in your database, now you can do constant touching, okay? And I don't mean the touching that means like I'm going to touch them every time. No, this is not what I'm talking about. A touch campaign is something where your systems, your models are touching up on some type of drip campaign. If it's a promotion or if it's your MLS and it's syndicating potential opportunities, that's a touch. Because the touch is generating the opportunity, and that opportunity is saying, oh, it's Jack as an example, or it's Mr. Powers with KW, right? As an example. That's the touches of our parameters in place. Okay. And remember, you got to review everything that comes in, right? And no lead is a good lead or a bad lead. A lead is a lead that you convert when you converse with them. That's the lead, folks. Okay. That's how you converse. Is the conversational piece. Yes.
The question within you and the articles, are we still allowed to send out those MLS? Just electronic, like if we know what they're looking for and we don't have the buyer representation agreement, is it still okay to send those out?
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, the work is in the follow-up, right? And even though you may not have a buyer representation agreement, they may not want to be in that working relationship with you.
Right, so
Okay.
that's still okay.
That's perfectly
So
fine.
any like digital communication is fine. It's the only thing that we can't do anymore is literally show that first house without getting signed agreement. Is that
Yeah,
right?
so
Is there
once,
anything
when
else?
you send information, right, it's perfectly fine not to have a written agreement. But once they want to set an appointment and want to physically see the property and they're asking you, then that's when you want to tie them up with the agreement. If it's an exclusive agreement or a non-exclusive, that's your choice. But the essence is you got to have something in writing. Because with the NAR settlement, they stipulate that you have to have a written agreement with anyone that you're talking about real estate. Passing a flyer is not an agreement, okay? But once you're showing a property and negotiating or asking you to do X, Y, and Z, then that's when you need to have a written agreement in place. Does that make sense? Okay. Good question. Very good question. All right, and then after the leads and contracts, it's number 3 is cultivating those contacts, right? Interactive and needs-based offerings, right? It's a funnel, right? It's like a suction, right? Every time you're feeding your business, right, with all of these contacts, right? The cycle of the funnel is to dissect the information because you've got the core 3 things: name, phone number, and email. That's all you need.
The rest, let the system kind of handle and navigate that for you. Make sense? And then those become new and repeated and referrals, right? Because the end goal, right, with everything that we put into our database is with the opportunity that in the near future, you're going to get something out of it. A buyer, a seller, or an investor. Make sense? It's not rocket science. Okay. But it's
Sounds like
fundamental. It does? Okay. So I'm gonna make it even more complex. All right. All right, so obviously part of what we do is the integration of the end-to-end Keller Cloud platform for running and growing your business, right? Everyone should have access to their database, right? And this is KW from there. You can go into adding your data into your KW, and that starts the momentum of it. Yes, there's a lot of moving parts to it. Yes, it can be a little bit tricky, but once you implement it and you play with it, the easier and easier and easier. Jack, you're smiling, my friend.
Yes, a lot of unsubscribers. Yes, a lot of opt-out stuff doing because I read them.
Yeah.
But you gotta keep putting new data.
Yeah, but that's why you gotta constantly be funneling them, right? Every time you get a new person, you gotta funnel, because you're gonna get people that are not gonna be responsive. Or gonna want you to take them out of the database, and that's just the nature of what we do. Think about how many emails you get on a regular basis too, right? You get tons of emails, right? And some of them you just like, I'm done with them sending me, I wanna subscribe out. I wanna opt out, right? It's a numbers game at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Okay,
Even in the church, I was focusing on people more than the priest yesterday.
yeah,
This is what he wants.
you got to. Okay, half of you is there listening to the preacher, and half of you is, who's my next client?
Right. You're looking at all the people and the views. They're all buyers.
100%, yeah. All right, so let's go into the 4 elements and components to your business. All right, build a database, right? Which is, you already have the database. We already have it, right? Command is your database, your phone. Guess what? This is your database. Or whatever spreadsheet that you use that you can hone into conversations and follow-ups, right? Doesn't necessarily have to be command, it could be anything that you want to use. Number 2, you got to feed it every single day. Let me ask you, real talk, can you go a day without eating? Some of us could, some of us can't. Some of us try to, but the reality is we gotta eat something, right? Even if it's small bites of something, right? Because either we get antsy, we get mad, we get a headache, we get frustrated, right? But we have to have some type of food in us, right? Especially if you're trying to go cold turkey, right? But if you have a rhythm and a pattern that you can be disciplined, like me, I can go all day and eat only once a day, and I'm still heavy duty. The essence is that's just the way my mind works. I don't do breakfast. Yeah, I love breakfast, but I cannot do breakfast. I do lunch and I do dinner, and that's just the way I function. That's just the way I run. For some of us, we need to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that's okay. Some of us metabolism is a little faster than others. Some of us burn a little quicker, right? But the essence is you gotta feed it every single day, right? It's like having a pet. How many have pets? All right? Do you feed your pets on a regular basis? Every day, right? Then why is it that you're not feeding your business? Ooh. Think about that for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine if you were feeding your business on a regular basis. How much more would your business look? Real talk, folks. Get in the habit of feeding your business. Okay. Remember the 3 things that I said earlier, right? Learn contracts, learn negotiations, and learn objection handlers. You know those 3, guess what? You're on top of the world. Because regardless of what technology changes, regardless of what forms change, you know contracts, you know negotiations, and you know how to handle people's objections. You're one step ahead of your competitors, I can assure you that. That's always been the case and that will continue being the case. I don't care if we have AI, I don't care if we have technology, all right? But if you're not smart enough to use the technology, it defeats the purpose. All I'm saying is, learn those fundamentals, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna be in a good place. That's it. It's not much of an ask. But get in the rhythm of learning contracts. Because if I was to say, you're going on a listing appointment today at 6 P.M., okay, I'm being real. I give you the address to the property. What are you gonna do next?
Research it, or we pull up all the paperwork and everything, get ready for it.
Yeah,
Be prepared.
I like Mimi's mentality. She says, I'm on it. I will be there at 6 o'clock. Some agents will say, well, I don't think I have enough time. I'll wait, I need at least a day or two. The opportunity is there, right? You gotta be ready at a given time. You gotta be ready every single day. You gotta be like that firefighter on a 911 call because there's a fire going on, ladies and gentlemen. Okay?
People are just unempathetic or just.
Okay, you gotta be ready. Because you just never know if that buyer is ready to buy, ready to sell, ready to invest. And if you miss that boat, guess what? It's gonna be hard for you to get back on that boat once the boat is gone. You can try to swim to it, but you're gonna miss the boat. You with me?
Mhm.
Okay, it's all about urgency. Real estate is about urgency. Urgency. The moment you get someone's contact, immediately put them into your database. And that starts the momentum of your foundation. Okay? Then once you feed your business into your database, then it's the communications. Okay, the systematic approach, right? Communications. How many people like to communicate? Yeah, you got into the people business career, right? You cannot hide behind a computer, right? You eventually have to talk to people. That's why you got into real estate. This is a people business. The number 4, service all your leads. And that goes to your point, Jack, all right? The good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay, that's your filtration. This is where you got to filter, is this a good lead?
Mhm.
A not so good lead or a crappy lead? Okay,
We can.
there's categories that you need to put these people
Yeah.
into. Cold, warm, and hot.
And
Where
you
do
can
those
tell-
3
yeah.
fall into? Is it a cold lead that, it's just,
They're not
it's a
ready.
waste time of my time? Are they a warm lead that may transition into a potential opportunity, right? Or it's a hot lead, they're ready to buy, sell, and invest. Okay, are you up to par? Are you ready to rock and roll? Are you ready to get that paperwork? Are you mentally, physically, and emotionally ready? Okay,
That's when we call you.
that's what you call fun.
Oh, yeah.
We're here to support you
We
guys.
keep them, right, Simon? The cold ones, we keep them.
Absolutely.
We don't use them.
Absolutely. You keep all of your, but you scrub them out and know which ones you're gonna stay on contact on a regular basis. And the ones that we are not, because they may in the future want to buy.
We refer to people.
Yeah. People's circumstances change on a regular basis, yes or yes?
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely, right? Today, they may not be ready to buy. But maybe 6 to a year to
Uh-huh.
3 years, they may be in a position to buy. They just won the lotto. They just got the job of their dreams. They may just inherited some money.
Mhm.
They may not inherit a home and they don't want to live on it, but they want to sell it. That happens quite often.
Yeah, somebody dies.
And now they have $200,000-300,000 to invest.
Mhm.
And because you stayed in touch in your database with them, right? That becomes a warm and a hot.
I have another question. It's not in the same subject, but it's regarding the contract. the mediation and arbitration summon is for both, for buyer, seller, and also it says in the contract, agents also, right?
Right.
And here at the end, it says it's not mandatory to sign it, the one for the agent, because here it says that, your agreement with this arbitration provision is voluntary. Says to the agent and both the buyer and seller, so you can accept the mediation, not the arbitration. And you go to court in case something happens, right?
Yeah,
So it's not mandatory to make sign the clients.
it is and it isn't, okay, and that's a whole different conversation that doesn't necessarily talk about
The contract.
the database class, but to answer your question, okay, it is optional.
Okay,
Because liquidated damages, arbitration and mediations are optional. And you'll get some people that will not want to sign those because they don't want to be part of that mediation arbitration.
and what is your interest, our realtor's interest? to sign?
You know, our best interest is always to get them to initial and sign every element to that contract. By all means. Okay, that's why contracts are very
In terms
important,
of discussion, so I know my choices, that's.
of course. All right, folks, any ahas? Anything that resonates with you on today's conversation so far?
Be ready every day,
Absolutely, yeah.
be ready.
Be that emergency responder, right? You gotta be ready at a given time.
Or when somebody says yes.
Yeah, because what if they do say yes to you? Oh, I'm not ready, I'm sorry. Can you give me 28, 48 hours, right? No, I can't, I'm sorry. I'll find someone else that can do the job for me. All right,
Yeah.
you
And
gotta have the leap of faith, ladies and gentlemen, to just plunge. Okay? Jump in first and then ask questions.
because people, if you're not around, they will go with somebody else in an instant.
In this industry, yeah, it's a very fine line and a very cutthroat industry.
Yeah.
So you gotta definitely have a very thick skin.
1,200,000 agents in the US.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Now that you mentioned that, how do you develop a thick skin? Cause you know, we're newbies and we're like, oh, you know, kind of shaky when it comes to already just having a customer in front of us.
And it's not easy, especially if you are. You know, if you come from the mindset, like mostly like teachers, like customer service, sometimes we are trained to be polite and professional and yes to all customers. But in this industry, you gotta build a little bit of that thickness because we deal with negotiations. And if our clients are telling us, hey, that for us, Simon, hey, we want this property, so do your very best to get us that property, right? A soft-spoken person is not going to be able to do so. You have to have a little bit of that thickness and that toughness. Okay, regardless, men or women, and I've seen it in both categories, both men and women. Okay, have sometimes that challenge. This is why proper education, proper fundamentals, proper foundations, understanding the elements of what you're involved in, and knowing how to maneuver those is crucial to your business. Okay, I'm not saying you gotta be this wahoo, tough woman or man, but you gotta have a little bit of a understanding is you don't wanna be bullied or bulldozer. Because there's agents out there that'll do so. Okay, and they'll prey on your strengths and your weaknesses. And they'll try to just bulldoze you through because they see that. Okay. That's where your mindset has to be in the right place. Okay, and I'll talk about that more in the, I believe in the negotiation, that I think I'm teaching negotiation, but I don't know if I'm teaching it or not. That's where I really dive deep into the art of negotiation. And what you think negotiation is not what you think. Okay. All right, so building database. At a minimum, each contact should have name, contact information, past business records, right?
I think it's name, phone number, and email.
Mhm.
Okay, that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, because if you have a name, but you don't have an email or phone number, it doesn't do justice. And if you have a number, but you don't have a name, that doesn't do justice, right? And now more so nowadays, an email doesn't say first and last name, sometimes is Billy the Kid at 445-222@gmail.com. Who the heck is Billy the Kid? People come up with some
That's weird.
funny emails, right?
Mm.
But that's their choice and their preference. All I'm saying is, get their name, get their phone number, get their email. Okay,
The social address is important also, like Facebook is.
100%.
That is the strongest one.
You want to be a stalker, right? Yeah, because it tells you a lot of their personality. Are they family oriented? Do they have grandchildren? Do they have children? Do they travel? Are they to sports? Do they have a hobby? What are their niches? What do they like to do? It tells a lot on their social media
So
stuff,
they check in the morning when they wake up, their social platform before their inbox.
right? Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. Okay. So building your database, enter the details for each contact, right? Goes into your system here. Check out command, your database on contact, find other technologies, right? So one of the awesome things about being a KW agent is the ability that you do have a client relations management tool, which is your command. Feed your database, right? Feed your database. All right, so now let's go into feeding it every day, prospecting and marketing, right? So in your opinion, folks, what does that mean to you? What does that entail when we say feed your database? Anyway, what does that mean?
Putting in names and numbers every day.
That's simple, yeah. Don't overcomplicate it, right? Don't overcomplicate it. What else?
Prospect every day.
100%, yeah. Prospecting every single day. Yeah. What else?
Can you elaborate on prospecting really quickly? Sorry.
Repeat your question.
I said, could you elaborate on what prospecting exactly means,
Okay, absolutely.
please?
Yeah. So prospecting is basically this, all right? If I'm devoted to my business and I'm going to time schedule it into my calendar, I'm going to set the tone that I want to prospect, for at least 2 to 3 days out of my week. Prospecting is you're looking for new business, new opportunities. Prospecting is lead generating. Prospecting is someone new that you can bring into your database. Prospect is a potential buyer, a potential seller, a potential investor, or a potential developer. All right. Prospecting means something new, someone new into your system, into your database. Today, I'm going to prospect for 3 hours. Okay, well, what does 3 hours of prospecting mean? I'm going to farm my neighborhood. I'm going to hit 100 doors in the next 3 hours to see if anyone is motivated, or at least have a real estate conversation, or at least pass my business card or my flyer. Okay. Today, I'm going to host an open house and I'm going to prospect all of the people that come into my open house to ask them if they are working with an agent or not, right? If people come into the open house and leave without ever connecting with that potential person that comes in, that's your choice. All right. Remember,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Remember, when hosting an open house, ladies and gentlemen, right? And the mindset is anyone that comes into that open house is a potential buyer, investor, or seller. But it's your job to identify if they fall under those categories.
And if they don't, that's perfectly fine. Well, Simon, I'm on looking move. I'm a neighbor. I'm not looking to buy, I'm not looking to sell. I'm gonna keep this house to the day I die. Okay. And that's perfectly fine. But what you're wanting to do, because the change can happen in a blink of an eye. They may say, I don't want to sell, but then two years from now, 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, that conversation may change. Oh, but I thought I was going to die in my property. I'm not, I'm relocating after all and leaving the state of California. You just never know. But if you're not inputting those people into your database, you're gonna lose that opportunity. Okay? Prospecting again is those elements of approaching and conversing with as many people that you can. Okay. Prospecting could be at a network event, all right? If it's a real estate event, if it's a lawyer's event, doctor's event, whatever the event, but I'm gonna focus on connecting with 50 to 100 people. My goal is to communicate and talk about real estate. My goal is to pass on my business card and introduce myself as the local real estate agent. That's what I'm doing. It's a contact sport, ladies and gentlemen, right? Exchanging each other's information. And now with all these smartphones, you can tap one another's and their contact and social media comes up. All right. I'll give you an example and then I'll let you say something. And I don't carry business cards anymore, but what I do carry is this electric card here. All right. When you tap on your phone, all of my contact information goes into your phone. Okay.
Is it a dot card?
What? No. Okay. This is what I do. I tap your phone and my contact information. Or they can scan the QR code here and then all of my contact information, whatever it is. And that's the element and the component that we must do. 1 second, let me mute some people here. Okay. Amy, did you have a question?
And if you have your farm, I have my farm of my neighborhood, but in order to put them in my database, I have to talk to them and ask them their permission before I put them in my database too.
No.
No, you don't? I can
No,
put them in that?
no.
Okay.
The moment they initiate and give you their information,
Uh-huh.
that's a great segue to say, hey, whatever you want to do with my information is perfectly fine. Because remember, at the end, they have the discretion. If they're getting too many drip campaigns, too many emails from you, they can subscribe and opt out from it. Okay? So anyone that gives you information is open range that you can put them into your database. Yes. Rita?
Your electronic card, which company was that? Is that the doc card I hear about or something else?
Yeah, there was a young man that came into the office. I can give you his contact information. I think I paid $150.
Yeah, I got this too.
Yeah, $150.
Yeah.
And what he does is he connects all of your social media like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and your contact information. So when they tap on your card, all of their information automatically goes into their phone. They save it, and now you'll get their information without actually typing it in, because it'll syndicate into your phone as well.
So it goes into their phone and then shoots it over to your phone as well?
Yeah. Yeah, their information, once they save, and there's a section that says, if you want to, it has to be okay for them to provide me with their information, and then I get their contact information as well. So you don't have to type it in, you don't have to write it down, it automatically syncs into your phone. Yeah.
Or is it different from like on our command app? Like we.
It is a little bit different.
Share that.
No, sharing is fine, which is totally different than this business card. This is more of an introduction. Here, tap my phone and all my contact, my name, my phone number, my email, my social media, and all that stuff. Your share app is totally for more of a business when it comes to your MLS.
And
Sorry, in terms of business card, the contact info. as
Yeah.
well. So it does have that, like, if I was to.
but does your Care KW, does it also syndicate all of your social media?
Think, but yeah.
Because this one also connects like YouTube, you can also include YouTube. Like if you have a YouTube channel, so that way they can see any stuff that you've done. That's the cool thing about the marketing aspect of it is, your YouTube as well.
Two things in this that. You give them the physical card, they might throw it. This one, you are having it saved.
That's right.
This is the good thing about it.
Yeah.
We got- I
Well,
always-
and this one, you don't have to order more business cards too. So it's one card, tap, you can pass it on to so many people, and then their information goes into your phone as well too, so it saves all that paperwork.
So I do always.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, your sphere will generate new repeat and referral business, right? Remember, the whole purpose and the whole plan of what we do is the ability, right? The ability for us to connect, because at the end of the day, guys, what we're trying to do is what? Accomplish one thing. And what is that? What are we trying to accomplish?
Lead
What?
generation to sell.
Yeah, what we're trying to accomplish, folks, is to try to get an opportunity from it, right? That's what it really boils down to. Because I hate to say this to you all, the moment that you got your real estate license, the moment that you join a company, money and business are not gonna go your way. You gotta go out there and work for business. Right? If someone else told you differently, I'm sorry, but they lied to you. I got my real estate license, I'm gonna make 6-figure income. No, it doesn't work that way, folks. Again,
It's
just.
those
not being-
marketers that tell you that.
So when they say what they want, we're gonna tell them, I'm a therapist and sometimes I sell houses.
Yeah. You do it all, you do it all. Exactly.
Tell a therapist.
Well, and let's just say theoretically speaking, right, most of us had a little over 1,000 contacts on your phone, right? Imagine if you were to scrub your contacts, right? And now get into really the core of good leads that are there. People at one point in time were thinking in the near future to buy, and now you're just checking in with them. It's no different than when you have a dental appointment or a doctor appointment. Now, even doctors and dentists have been very sophisticated. They'll send you a text alert. Hey, just a friendly reminder, tomorrow at 4 p.m. you have your doctor's appointment. Say yes if you're good, say no if you're gonna cancel, right? Because that's the way technology has taken us, right? They're using database, they're using your information to streamline their calendar. So that way they know who is going to commit to the appointment and who is canceling or rescheduling. That's the whole purpose of your database, is also to distinguish and filter and find the motivated buyers and sellers. Because if you're put that person in your contact and a year from now they reach out, hey, this is Joe Blow. I met with you a year ago, and you don't remember this person, right? And you might have met them at a network event, right? Or we're thinking of selling, your name came in mind. I know you were in real estate, and with that, I would reach out to you. And that's an exciting moment, right? When you get someone that is reaching out to you even after a year. And you didn't even reach out, but the system did for you, right? They fall into your drip campaigns, they get email alerts, right? Or they're constantly checking your website or your MLS. That's the power of technology, folks.
Technology is our friend and is our enemy also.
It can-
62% is zero in the market. When you were a realtor, there were no.
100%. I hear you 100%. Yeah.
That's why they.
It's one of these unique situations, folks, okay? That you're right. Zillow has a platform that most consumers go to that search because there's no threat. There's no one really, calling them, right? They rather go to that platform where they can at least research homes without anyone calling them. Hey, you want to sell? Hey, you want to buy, right? So yeah, they capture most of the consumers. Okay.
There was time for this example, like that day I was having lunch with relatives. And you're gonna give them value, you don't discuss about Told them, don't worry, whenever you wanna buy, we have a lot of programs, 0%, you can start to knock out with that. And then they called me after like 1 month, said, Jack, remember that meeting, can you give us information? I told him, yeah, I did my diggings a little bit, I told him that you can do this, you're gonna keep the house with you 5 years, but just, I give you the website, I'm not the lender, you do that. I can find the home for you, don't worry.
Right.
Said, yeah, we already checked some properties on Zillow, we saw some, so where is my role?
Yeah, I get it.
So
But
I'm
remember-
helping, I'm giving them value data so I can sell, I'm not the lender, I'm not gonna make money from the lending, from the selling. And they are seeing on Zillow.
Yeah.
They might call me, but if they have that agent's name on Zillow, they're gonna contact me if they're rookie, I'm gonna miss the sale.
Well, and this is the reason you have to be
Exactly.
constantly out there promoting yourself. I wish I could get billboards for all of you. So people that are driving the street, they can see, hey, Jack with Keller Williams, right? But the reality, that's not the case. This is why you have to do what you need to do in order to generate opportunities. Yes, sir.
He was saying, what's my role? Get the contract signed,
That's right.
know the contracts and
Yeah.
let them search. If they search and they find a house even better, you show up, sign it up.
Remember, our job is to close the gap, right? And part of what we do is get the contract signed. Because once the contract is signed, ladies and gentlemen, you have a binding agreement with the buyer and the seller at the end of the day. So the goal here is when you go on a listing appointment, you want to at least walk out with a listing agreement signed and executed, right? And sometimes that's not the case that happens, but the mindset is when you go on a listing appointment, you want to walk out with the listing signed and executed by the seller. But this is why you have to ask the qualifying questions. When I meet with you, Mr. John Smith, you know, all parties going to be there for this meeting, right? If not, then maybe you need to reschedule that appointment because you want all of the decision makers. Because if you only have one there and not the other, you're not going to get the listing signed. That was just a waste of time because one, they're just praying for information. They're not really motivated. So that's your embedded position is, Mr. Smith, thank you so much for reaching out to me. You know, I want to make sure that your wife is going to be there as part of the decision. And 3 things are going to happen. You know, you're going to give me the opportunity to list your home. Or you're not going to give me the opportunity to list the home. Or you may want to consider and think about it before you give me the opportunity to list your home. Any of those 3 is perfectly fine. I just want to make sure that I'm in the position to be able to answer any and all questions, right? Because when you go there, you already have to have your lengthy presentation. It's like a systematic approach, right? And I'll explain because I use aviation as an example. A pilot, captain, first officer, left seat is the captain, right? Captain already has that mindset. He has a manual of all the checklists that has to be done prior to that plane even being moved into the taxiway. There's protocol procedures when they're now going into the takeoff runway. And then once they're in the runway, there still has other procedures. And then once they push the throttle, right, and the plane is taking off, guess what? There's protocol procedures. Just before they hit that 80, 90 mile per hour and they start, you know, pushing the lever to lift, right? And then you got to stay in that parameter and make sure that it's lifting, right? And there's procedures where you're off in the air, and then there's additional procedure as your final approach, right? Well, that's the same element that we do in real estate. Have that understanding of what that listing procedure is. Have the mindset when you go in there, 1, show up on time. 15 to 30 minutes before your scheduled appointment. Have your comparable market analysis, your marketing material in place, and know exactly what you're planning to do and execute. It should be a consistent, systematic approach, ladies and gentlemen. And it should be the same thing when working with a buyer. If you're meeting the buyer here in the office, meeting them at their residence or at a location, have a system in place of what that looks like and repeat. Everything is about repeat. Nothing that you have to do differently on every conversation or every appointment that you go to. It's the same approach. Okay? Thank you for meeting it. It is 4 o'clock. You know, can you give me an opportunity to look at this beautiful home or the home in general, right? Let me walk the property to see it from the eye of a buyer. Okay, then you walk the property without the client, right? If the client is compelled to be with you so they can tell you, then by all means, give me a grand tour of your beautiful home. Tell me, because that way you're writing notations in your mind, right? When you're ready to sit down and go over your marketing strategy and your position and how you're going to walk out of the house with the executed listing agreement, right? And it's the same element and component when working with a buyer, right? You got to know the process. Okay, the buyers are here. So tell me a little bit more why we're here. I always ask that question, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, tell me why I'm here. Because all of your answers are probably there. And in your mind, you're thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to talk about the commission. They're going to only give me 15 days to list this property. We're already psyching ourselves. In the essence, that's always never the case. But in our heads, we throw all that inside our minds. So start with a conversation. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, thank you so much for the opportunity. So tell me, why am I here? Okay, you're a consultant, right? You want to hear it from the buyer and the seller's perspective. Well, you know, the reason you're here is, you know, we've decided to sell our home. After, you know, many months of contemplating, you know, we made a decision to sell the home. And the reason is we're getting a divorce. My husband is retiring. My husband is ill and now we need to relocate. Whatever the case may be, you've got to be sympathetic about it, right? But that gives you an arm and an ammunition to navigate that conversation before you go for the kill. Right?
Well, you wanna help them.
Right. It's no different than, have you ever watched any of these wildlife shows? Okay, and what I mean by that, and I'm gonna be a little graphic, is but a lion, right? Or a lion or any animals that prey, right? What do you think they go for to capture their prey? Right? What do they do to de-escalate the situation, right? They usually go to the slowest path, right? Or the most easiest path that they can get. But they always go for what? The neck, right? Because that's where they can not sterilize the scenario, but what's the word I was going to try to use here? But stop it from continuing, right? And then before you know it, you know, they go unconscious and that's it, right? So, but they know that's their prey, right? So that's the mindset that you need to have, is that you need to have a systematic approach every time you go on a listing appointment. Stay in the same path. Okay? Same path. You get there on time, you let me see your property, where's a good place that we can discuss, and always have your clients facing yours, not here and here, right? Because if you're here, you can't see what the other person is saying to the other significant other, right? So you want to always have the conversation where you can see him in front of you.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're on a table, make sure that you're not on the side of the table and they're sitting here and here, put them there. You control the narrative of that, right? Because now you can see body language, eye contact, expressions, and you can see where this is leading. Because the game of this is to make sure you walk away with the listing. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, any questions so far?
Yeah, I have one.
Yes.
In regards to generating leads and adding new names and numbers every day. Let's say, for example, I call a buddy of mine today who is potentially going to buy a property. Could I ask him for a buyer's agreement before that even happens, or does it necessarily have to happen for a specific property that he wants to go check out?
Yeah, that's a very good question. With all the new changes, if you're just giving information, then you don't necessarily have to have a buyer agreement. But if that client wants to now set an appointment to physically look at the property, then the rules apply that you have to have something in writing. And there's a couple forms that you can use. The form is the exclusive buyer representation agreement, the BRBC form. Then you have the other one that says about non-exclusive, and then you have one that talks about open house and showing up to 3 properties. So in order for you to be in compliance with all these new laws and rules, you have to have something in writing with anyone that actually physically wants to see your property.
So it's not against the law if, let's say, I call them up and say, hey, would you be willing to work exclusively with me, even if you're not looking for a property right now, but sometime down the line when you're ready, so that way we can, like, let's say, to
Well,
avoid
let
the
me ask
possibility
you
of him going on Reddit or on Zillow.
Well, let me tell you, that particular question is why would I put something in writing if I'm not committing to work with you now? Because remember, the buyer representation agreements are only good for 3 months. So either they're in and committed to work with me, or they're not committed to work with me. If they're not, that's okay. But why would I try to get them to sign something if they're not ready to buy it? Because remember, those agreements have a beginning and expiration date. So why would I tie someone up and then 2 months from now, they reach out or you reach out, and now you're have to get an extension, or by that time, they may not want to work with you.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's
totally
either, what's that?
Totally forgot the time frame. Yeah, that makes more
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, so also remember, the commitment that you put is if they trust and like your services, they don't have a problem signing something with you now. I'd rather commit to you working with me now. And if you're not ready, no problem. You let me know when you're ready. And at that point in time, we'll have an agreement signed. But to tie them up for future doesn't make any sense with all the new changes happening. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Copy
So,
that. Thank you.
Yeah, so either anchor that and get them to commit now, or if not, then wait until they're ready to commit. All right. All right, so part of what we do is our KW customer service, right? And remember, you got into this industry to help other people, right? That's why you got your real estate license, right? So part of what we do is the customer experience, right? The concierge, right? If I was to say, out of all the credit cards out there, which one do you think would give you the most customer experience? Is it Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express? Which one do you think?
Customer, maybe.
Customer
Depends,
service.
travel, MasterCard.
Okay, yeah, traveling MasterCard,
Visa.
okay. Everyone has their own personal experience there, right? Some will say, well, it's MasterCard. Some of us will say, no, it's Visa. Some of us will say American Express. I know, I'll say American Express all day long. I just like their concierge. I like how they handle things, and they're very efficient, right? But that's my opinion. Doesn't mean that's your opinion. Okay. But in essence, imagine what the consumer is telling about you. What's their experience with you over someone else that can do your job too as well, right? But it falls into the components in the category, right, of the essence of testimonials, right? Every time you close a deal with a potential client, you want to get a testimonial. Look, I'm so grateful and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to serve you in navigating the home purchase process, right? Or thank you so much, Mr. and Mrs. John Smith, for allowing me to help you with the sale of your home and now going on to your next chapter of your life, right? But part of my business is
I really like testimonials to help me generate more clients. Can you give me, a quick testimonial of your experience in the process with me? Ask for the order, right? That's the whole purpose, right? Because the more testimonials, when you're going on a buyer consultation, on a listing consultation, you can say, look, here are all the people that have given me good reviews, right? Because as consumers, that's what we do, right? When we're shopping for a trade person, right? We're looking for a plumber. We're looking for a contractor. We're looking for an HVAC. We're looking for a pool service, right? A mechanic, right? What do we do? We research, right? Also like restaurants, right? You're new to the neighborhood, you want to know what the local Mexican restaurant, Italian restaurant, Indian restaurant, Thai restaurant, right? We do a little bit of research and then we look at testimonials and reviews, right, and make a determination. And then we go there based on that, and then we give our own opinions and thoughts, right? But we, as real estate professionals, we rely on testimonials because that gives us the resume that we need, right? So make a habit to consistently ask for testimonials. What areas of business or customer service could you ask someone to provide testimonials, right? Responsiveness, attention to details, professionalism, empathy, clear communications, etc., right? All of these are great testimonials. And the beauty is that you can also create your own testimonials, right? And get that perspective from the end user, right? But you also gotta acknowledge that, there's risk involved with that, right? Someone puts a bad review, how do we clean that up? Well, if you have 100 good reviews and one not so good, the good reviews will offset that one review. It doesn't really matter. Because there's going to be someone that you're not going to be able to please.
And you can ask what you can do to make it better.
100%.
What can I do to make it better?
And I'll share, and if it's okay, Mimi, can I share? Mimi is a retired flight attendant with Delta. Okay. And part of the core of what you did was all about customer service, right?
Yeah.
Smile, eye contact, be very catering, because those are the clients that are paying to take them from one place to the other, right? It's all about customer service. And if they feel at any given time that the customer service is not there, it's easy for them to put a bad review or speak to upper management. And now you have to explain the reason behind it, right? But as to her point is, what could I have done differently to give you that ultimate 5-star concierge, right? It's okay to ask because you can also improve from the good and the bad. Back in the day, this office used to have a suggestion box. And I hated that suggestion box, because you would get agents either good things or bad things. But it was an enhancement to know how we're doing as an office. Okay, and it was team leader, broker, office staff, suggestion or whatever. Hey, we need this. Hey, we need that. But it gave us an avenue to really handle and develop new experiences, right? Because if we're hearing it consistently from one or two or three people, then it may be something that we need to do and change to support our agents. Because in our eyes, we may not see that as being such a big deal, but in their eyes, that may be a big deal, right? This is why it's important to understand those elements. Thank you. Okay, any ahas so far? We're almost at the home stretch, guys. All right, I'm not going to keep you to 4 o'clock. All right, I promise. We'll probably finish before 4 o'clock. Only if you want me to stay here till 4 o'clock. It's up to you. Okay, how many say want to stay till 4 o'clock? Raise your hand. Mr. Powers, all right. I love that. All right, let's continue. Is this information relevant? Does this all make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Again, going back to my theory, right? It's not rocket science, right? This is just one of the layers in the base of database, right? Communications in your database. All right, so Gary Keller says to succeed at a high level in real estate sales, you must commit to frequent contacts with a database with the intent of building close relationships. Yes, to succeed at a very high level, folks, you got to commit, right, to inputting and scrubbing and checking in with your database. Okay. It's like your children, right? If you have small kids, right, you're gonna check with them on a regular basis, right? You're not gonna go weeks and weeks. Where are my kids? I haven't seen them in 2 weeks. And they're 5 and 6, right? You check on them on a regular basis, right? Have that same mentality. Check in with your people, right? And I'll give you an example. Over the weekend, I happened to check in with an old friend of mine. And the last time I checked in with her was in May, 3 days prior to Mother's Day. I said, oh gosh, I haven't checked in with her in a long time. I'm gonna check in and say hello. I checked in about 30 minutes, I get a response back. Hey, Simon, thank you so much for checking in with me. Sorry, I haven't been in communications with you, but early in May, our mother passed away. And my mom passed away due to a tragic accident. She was involved in a fatal accident. She got sideswiped with a vehicle that was going 60 miles and T-boned on the driver's side and instantly passed away. So it's been very difficult. I wouldn't have known that. Oh my gosh, I texted back. My sincere apologies. I'm really saddened to hear this news. My condolences to you and the family. I'm really sorry to hear this, right? And she goes, I'm doing a lot better. Thank you. And then she put a little heart. So again, you don't know where people are at, right? They can be at the highest of highest or the lowest of lowest, the darkest of darkest or the shiniest of shiniest. You just never know. But if we're not out there checking and checking in with our database for people that we know or don't know, but you just never know where that's going to take things. Does that make sense? Yeah, absolutely. All right, communications. Number 3, segment your database on interest and passion. So VIP, golf, military, investor, referral, or dog lover. Okay, segments of your database, right? So the beauty of your database is you got people from all walks of life, right? I know for a fact that my database is all my agents, right? I have them in my database. I can go to my command, I can check, and I can see my database of all my agents in this office. Okay. And then I can see the ones that have completed their profiles 100% and the ones that have not completed, right? And those are the ones that I'm having conversation. Hey, how come you have not completed your profile, right? Because the more you put into your profile, the more people are going to see who you are and what your likes and traits are, right? So the segment of what we do is we categorize our people, right? Because as I mentioned early on, right? I got friends that are pilots, I have friends that are police officers, I have friends that are teachers, I have friends that are attorneys. And I know by their name and their traits, right? Imagine if you had an insight to everyone that's in your database, right? Where now you can articulate a conversation because you have intel information. Like Jack said, we went into their social media, right? I'll give you an example. You go on a listing appointment, right? And your listing appointment is tomorrow at 5 p.m. And you got the information from the client, right? And now you did a little bit of research and you happen to find them on social media, right? You may think because you put things, you got to be a little bit of an investigator, right? But you know that this person is the person that you're going to meet, right? And now you tie it up together and now you know a little bit more than you didn't know just before you go into the listing appointment, right? Or let's say, for example, you're walking into the property and you see something that can resonate and open up a conversation before you even talk about real estate. Maybe they love plants. I think like Marie Hoffman, right?
Yeah.
Or home.
Her garden.
Yeah, she had a beautiful garden, and that for me would be a conversation piece for me to start talking about before real estate, before what I'm gonna do to sell. Let's talk about the plants, tell me, and guess what? They will open up and divulge everything. Maybe they're into sports, maybe they're a big USC, UCLA. Maybe they like a local NBA, NFL team, right? And that resonates with them, that they will open up, but that starts with a conversation. I used to go on listing appointments when I was in production, and I didn't know the sellers, but I found out that, you know, they're in law enforcement, their son's in law enforcement, or someone is in military and law enforcement. Guess what? That's my juice. That's my synergy, because I can relate to people. Right?
A military background?
Say again?
Do you have military background or?
I don't have military, but I have law enforcement background.
Uh,
I have law enforcement background. So that for me is an opportunity for me to have a conversation, because now I can lean towards it. And one of my good friends who now retired from the department lives in Tennessee, but I didn't know he was with the same department as I was. And it was because I went into his house on a listing appointment. Now he graduated the academy earlier than I did, but it was just a funny and the coincidence that I was a realtor, not a law enforcement, right? But that opened up a call. I didn't have to say anything more. I got to live. I didn't have to do any presentation.
That approach is already.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the approach is already there, right? And that goes for a lot of you. Whatever your trade is, whatever back experience you've had, utilize it and run with it at a very high level, folks. I can promise you, you'll get the listing signed because you already won that presentation without even presenting. How cool is that, right? Right? Because you resonate with them, right? Maybe they're pet lovers and you're a pet lover. And now you talk about the dogs and you play with the dog, right? Or you say a little bit of your experiences with dog. You sell them on that. And now they're ready to sign the agreement, right? That's what it's referring, right? If you know that it's a military or you know it's an investor, right? You have to have that mindset. If you know they love golf, right? I love golf. I'm not good at playing golf, but I can have a conversation around golf. Investors, I can have a conversation over investors, right? Whatever they're investing, if they're investing in real estate, if they're investing in stocks and mutual funds, right? Also can relate to dog lovers, right? I can relate to those conversations as well. Find that niche and run with it, tag it. And that's your way to be able to secure that listing. I can assure you, I can promise you.
Because they know, like, and trust you.
Yeah, because they can relate to you. You're not a robot. I'm here to sell your house. I'm here to list your home, right? No. Be authentic, be you, right? Sometimes being
You're gonna have to
you,
work so hard. if you're
being
gonna be a
you will
robot.
take you places you won't even know, right? But you also have to have a system, a sense of understanding the process and system, right? Just because I like it doesn't mean I'm gonna list your home, right? Because I want to make sure you know how to sell my house. Because if your numbers are off of what I'm thinking, as well, wait a minute, maybe you're not the right agent, right? It has to make sense, but use that as leverage, ladies and gentlemen, is all I'm saying. Okay? Definitely
Remember
MX.
Express,
Yeah, I love MX.
because they gave you a platinum card.
No, I actually have the black card.
The black card,
Yeah.
unlimited.
All right, so some of the touches and newsletters, right? Golf, investors, dog lovers, customized messages is reveal your golf course or your neighborhood and are relative to the geographic location of the people in the segment. Market stats is different geographic location based on market people are moving to and moving from. Listing of upcoming low cost vaccination sites or other low cost pet services, right? I mean, again, if you have that in the mindset, right, if you have those relationships, Here's the network of all the people that I've worked with, you know, you gotta be, again, going back to being resourceful, right? Being very resourceful. All right, so now we go into the communication aspect, communication with the value, right? Your leads, 19 to content, 4 touches, quarterly phone calls, 12 touches, monthly emails, newsletters, market reports. Imagine this. If you had so much information of a particular person that you even had their anniversary or date of birth, right? The birthday. And now you know that their birthday is coming in and you just send a nice little email, text video. Hi, Amy, I just want to wish you a wonderful birthday on your special day. I hope you're enjoying it. And you send that video to her. How cool is that you took time from your busy schedule to send someone a thankful happy birthday wish? How would you feel?
Excited.
Yeah. You would feel loved, right? It's like, oh my gosh, he went out of his way to wish me a happy birthday. Or even a small little thank you text, right? Happy birthday, Jack. Right? So those little touches. 2 touches, promotional directional mail such as a magnet, calendar, printed market reports, etc. 1 touch, annual event, party, movie screenings, get-togethers, right? Again, when you get to that level, right? Maybe you'll have like a client invitation. What was I going to say? Like a what was I going to say? Like an appreciation event, right? And we wanted to just invite all of the past clients and the clients this year who helped us grow our business. Here's an appreciation. And maybe you'll have like a catering truck for 2 hours and maybe have a jumper, you know, for the kids and make it into an event. If it costs you $2,000, right, for this event, but you get 5 to 10 leads from it, that $2,000-3,000 pays for itself. And some of these top agents, that's what they're doing at a very high level. They'll have 1 or 2 big events of client appreciation. Not saying that's what you need to do, but I just want you to think, you gotta invest in your business, market yourself, right? Maybe I'm not ready at this point in time, but at 1 minute, and at one point, that might be the direction, right? To capture more opportunities. And they'll say, oh my gosh, you know, the event that Simon did was phenomenal, right? Can't wait till next year. And they invite more people. And those people may be buyers and sellers. You never know. 1 to cement, right? A high volume touch that solidifies the relationship you have, just establishes and opens the door for future interactions. 1 high value touch. Contacts, 36 to convert. 4 touches, 26 touches, 4 telephone calls, 26 bi-weekly email offering some type of information of value to the customer. 2 touches, events, get together and parties. 4 touches promoting direct mail such as magnets, calendars, and market reports. In total, 36 touches. Okay. It is and it isn't, if you really think about it. How many weeks are there in a year? 52 weeks, right? So 36 touches is kind of, yeah, a little, but it's also enough that you'll know that if they continue with these touches, you're bound to see business from them in the near future. Okay. Maybe for you, Jack, 36 is too much. But for a lot of us, it may be like, okay, I like to see these, right? How many of us get, you know, things that we like, right? And we get constant touches, emails, text messages. You know, we like it because there may be a great sales going on or discount or something that they're promoting for us, right? Or an event.
That's a good way to say top of mind too.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, like Kohl's, they send you, you know, they sent me a thing on my birthday, saying happy birthday, here's $5 off, you know, so it's like, but they're very good on their marketing, it's like, they send you stuff all the time.
That's right, yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about this model? I'm trying to understand, so.
Which one?
The leads, 1 to cement, is there a correlation between all those 3 different segments there, or are they separate?
Yeah, so basically the leads are the leads that come in is the leads that you funnel. Remember the funnel we talked about earlier, right? All of the leads, this is what you need to be categorizing and doing on a regular basis. Those leads are eventually your contacts, right? Those are the people that you funnel into your campaign, you put them into your contacts. But these are all potential leads, right? Let's say you're hosting an open house and 25 families come into your open house. Out of those 25, let's say 12 of those did not have any representation, meaning they didn't have an agent. You need to be putting those leads into your database and putting them into your contacts. So now you can do your touches. They may not be ready to buy now, but they may be ready to buy in the near future. That's where this comes into play. Make sense? All right. All right, so your contacts, friends into your database, pretty simple, right? Nothing rocket science to this. All right, servicing your data. Your job is to build a community and serve the community, right? Your job is to build a community and serve the community. You're an advocate to the community, right? You're the mayor to your community, right? You're just doing real estate instead of running a city. What you want is opportunities to help buyers and sellers. Servicing your leads, okay? Opportunities, campaigns. This is how it starts, right? You get a listing, you're going to start the cultivating, the appointments, the active. This is the beauty of what you have command for, to help. And if you need help with this, there's a lot of videos on Scott Leroy as well. Check out Command, your database, and connect, find other technologies, right? All right, so let's see here. Try and get better with feedback. Give us your feedback. Go again, if you want to give some feedback, you can go to the kwuevaluation.com, Market Center, regional, in person, and all that fun stuff. KW Cares, part of Keller Williams, you know, and understand that, you know, KW is a big advocate to support our agents. Back in 2017, we had a mega camp out in Austin, Texas, and it wasn't called mega camp, it was called relief camp. We ended up going because the city of Houston was basically submerged in water with the big hurricanes and storms that happened, that we didn't have a mega camp, we called it relief camp. And we all were hubbed in Austin, Texas, and we had buses, thousands and thousands of people jump on buses. It was so systematic, so organized, and all KW agents from Austin, Texas to Houston, 3 hours to get to Houston. We were going neighborhood to neighborhood, hot as heck in the summer of August, and humid. And we were going house to house, pulling out personal items because the water has submerged houses halfway. So we were pulling drywall, pulling nasty carpets, and pulling out furniture, television, personal photos, clothing, expensive jewelry. I remember pulling out houses while the homeowner was there, and we had 10 or 15 KW agents in each house calling what we call debunking homes. It was tragic, but it was also rewarding that we as KW was giving back to the community. We didn't have to do that, but that was just part of what we did. Keller Williams also donated lots of money to this cause too as well. And the resources, there was gloves that they gave us, masks, they gave us hard hats, equipment to go and do our jobs. And it was brutal. It was hard. We were spending 4 to 5 to 6 hours. They were feeding us. We were drenched in sweat. I would go back to on the bus, sweaty and dirty. And then the following day, back at it again. You go home and you would pop Advil. You were in so much pain from all the heavy movement. But this is why we have KW Cares, you know, to empower and to support, to uplift our KW families, you know, so we gave back to our communities and our agents as well.
So Gary Keller has KW Next Generation. Our mission is to provide educational. So this is a great, for young adults as well. Also, Gary Keller, I've had the privilege and the opportunity to take some of his amazing masterminds. Last year, I was one of 50 team leaders that I got to meet in person. Gary Keller shook his hand, met with them as one of the top agents in the whole KW franchise. 50 team leaders were invited to his mastermind. The coolest thing, never had that experience, but awesome guy. He's a visionary, thinks big, and the incredible things he's created through KW. All right, so we talked about the 4 laws, right? Build a database, feed it every day, communicate systematically, and service all your leads. Okay, so trust in your database, follow the 4 laws, right? And remember the core of your 4 laws. Don't quit too soon, right? You may be right there, you may want to give up, right? Don't give up, folks. Keep pressing, keep pushing, lean forward, okay? The 36 Touch campaign, take times to get your results, right? Remember, this is not going to happen immediately. It's going to take some time. You need to nourish it, right? Whatever you plant now will resonate in 90 days. So don't think, oh gosh, how come nothing is happening, right? The more you do, the faster you'll see results from them. Think long-term, always come from care and service. The real estate business is a relationship business. All right, so we talked about how you think changes, what ideas and mindsets were done, what you feel difference about what meanings you need to do, how will your behaviors be different going forward, actions, right, and what tools. Success and systems, daily success system. If you've taken bold, you kind of understand the elements of this, right? It's contact, it's a numbers game. The more people that you're contacting, the more opportunities will happen. Oops.
But it was 100 for bold. 100 for.
Yeah. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. Definitely resonates with me. All right, we're not gonna role play today, just for the sake of time. But remember, part of what we do is role playing, right? Every Wednesdays here at the office at 11 o'clock, Eric Clyder does role playing. So I would encourage you just before coming into the team meeting, make an effort to be here 1 hour earlier and take advantage of the role playing. He'll provide you with some scripts, he'll provide you, and sometimes he'll do real live conversations. He picked up a listing appointment by calling an expired, and everyone was able to hear that call from just calling and making a commitment. So
interesting.
yeah. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna speak.
He did that one time. So, I mean, and I'll also do it too. Ask him, yeah. I've actually done calls too, real life calls, and said, look, here it is. I get the good and the bad. Sometimes they won't pick up. Sometimes they'll say, take me off. Don't call me ever again. But that's just, again, the nature of what we do, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So remember, role playing is a must in your business. Prepare your conversion list. Okay. Update your contacts. We're not going to go into it. And that should conclude our Ignite. Any final questions? Anything that you got out of today's class? Does this all make sense to you?
Of course.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's just the systematic part of it. It's putting an art into a system, converting, continuing, but putting it into a database and putting it into numbers and being very analytical about an art.
That's right. Yeah. Remember, your database is your core of your heartbeat, right? Without your database, you're not going to see momentum into your business. That's simple, folks. So the more you're putting into your business and into your database, the faster you're going to see results. All right. With that being said, I promise, I wasn't gonna keep to 4 o'clock.
Thank you.
You are free to go, my friends. Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
Thank you, everyone on Zoom. Thank you.